A woman unexpectedly gives birth to a spider fetus after 2 months of pregnancy. This is definitely the most bizarre pregnancy you've ever seen. A person in a vegetative state suddenly wakes up after 1 year, and mysteriously becomes pregnant. Within 2 months, her belly grows enormously. The midwife tries to locate the fetus but can't find it. She exerts tremendous effort to extract a lump of flesh, only to find that the lump of flesh has spider-like legs. It frantically scurries on the ground, dragging its umbilical cord. This is from the Spanish dark fantasy epic, 30 Pieces of Silver. It definitely challenges the limits of your imagination. In the year 33 AD, Judas betrays Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. He believed that Jesus, as the Son of God, would perform miracles and escape control. But Jesus is crucified and suffers on the cross. Overwhelmed by guilt, Judas takes his own life. The 30 pieces of silver he left behind are snatched up by Jewish people and Roman soldiers. 30 Pieces of Silver unfolds based on this story. A bearded priest is exiled by the Romans to a small town. Through a series of coincidences, he meets a righteous and courageous mayor and a female veterinarian. The three of them constantly fight against the followers of Cain to protect the silver coins. However, the evil bishop manages to collect all 30 silver coins. In a moment of crisis, the bearded priest is called upon by God. He embraces the evil bishop and perishes together with him. The scattered silver coins are snatched up by people. One of them rolls to the feet of the mayor's ex-wife. The evil ritual of the followers of Cain comes to a complete end. The scene is filled with the corpses of cult members who died for the silver coins. An old witch pushes a cart. She transports the bearded priest back to her home. She peels the skin off her forearm, and writes on it, "God resurrects in resistance." The old witch rolls up the piece of skin, and stuffs it into the mouth of the bearded priest. Then she covers the body with maggots. The next day, the bearded priest, covered in worms, resurrects. He realizes that he is in a strange building, surrounded by several individuals in black robes. After all, the bearded priest is someone who fights against demons. He calmly goes downstairs to assess the situation, only to see a scorching lava flow, pouring down from the edge of the horizon. Could this be the legendary hell? After the director throws out suspense willfully, the next second, the scene shifts to the town 1 year later. A pair of self-media partners arrive at this place, wanting to film some material to gain popularity. After all, there was news about a black mass in the town of Pedrosa. Half of the residents were locked up in mental hospitals. Now there is no human habitation in the whole town. It's empty and desolate, like a ghost town. The two of them gather their courage and enter an abandoned house to investigate. Suddenly, cries for help come from downstairs. They rush to the window to see. They see two men in white chasing an old man. The bearded man, Old San, didn't have his camera on. He didn't capture anything. He and his partner, Jinjie, wander around and find the local church. They notice a large circle of wire mesh surrounding it. There's a sign hanging on it. It seems like they want to turn this place into a resort hotel. Old San takes out a drone. He wants to see what's behind the fence. Unexpectedly, there are many men in white inside. They're wearing protective suits and carrying detectors. They seem to be searching for something. The men in white hear the sound of the drone, and they knock it down with a stick, afraid of getting into trouble. Jinjie tells Old San to leave. Little did they know, the drone loses control. Suddenly, it charges straight towards Old San, and instantly impales him, piercing his intestines. On the other side, the mayor is delivering goods at the fish market. He became wealthy thanks to his ex-wife. Now that they're divorced, he has to rely on himself. Fortunately, the mayor doesn't give up, because he can finally be with the female veterinarian openly and honestly. Unfortunately, since that battle, the female veterinarian has been in a coma. At this moment, the mayor receives a call from the female detective. She hopes he can testify for her. What is going on? Let's go back a few hours. Inside the capital city of Spain, Madrid, government officials are interrogating the female detective. The female detective was sent to investigate the truth in the town of Pedrosa. Unfortunately, she got possessed along with the local residents. Her mind was controlled by a demon. She reported the situation truthfully, but the government officials didn't believe her. So the female detective wants the mayor to testify. However, she had deceived many residents before. The mayor is unwilling to help. Just as he hangs up the phone, he sees a tall and thin figure coming out of the female veterinarian's ward. The mayor wants to catch up, but the person disappears in the corridor. Meanwhile, the female detective receives a call from her colleague. The colleague advises her not to get involved with the town of Pedrosa anymore, warning her to be careful not to lose her job. But just as the words are spoken, the colleague receives a call on the landline. His subordinate reports the death of Jin Jie, her partner. The female detective catches the word Pedrosa. Suddenly, she feels a surge of energy. She immediately hangs up and rushes to the town of Pedrosa. Meanwhile, Jin Jie leads the police to the crime scene. Unexpectedly, the body on the ground is gone. Even the bloodstains have vanished completely. The police say that after checking the nearby surveillance footage, they didn't see anything unusual. They think it's a prank. After taking photos for evidence, they quickly leave, unwilling to give up. Sister Jin spent the night huddled in the car. Unexpectedly, there's a person's head by the window. She leans over to take a closer look and is nearly scared to death. The old witch outside quickly runs away. Curious, Jin Jie chases after her, but as soon as she enters the alley, the witch disappears. Leaning against the wall, she takes out her phone. Unexpectedly, she accidentally opens a hidden door. She sees many eerie dolls hanging in the courtyard. In the center of the room, there's a coffin filled with maggots. As Jin Jie wonders about it, the old witch comes at her with a scythe. Fortunately, she reacts quickly, and avoids being split in half on the spot. Jin Jie's skills are unexpectedly impressive. Is it so challenging to become an internet celebrity these days? She kicks the old witch and escapes, hastily hiding in a house by the street. Jin Jie takes out her phone and sends a text message for help, but the words she just typed disappear the next moment. Just then, the female detective appears. However, the old witch mysteriously disappears. Jin Jie wants to go back and find the hidden door, but no matter how hard she tries, she can't find it. The female detective decides to visit the mental hospital first. As most of the town's residents are recuperating there, she wants to talk to them, but everyone avoids talking about the events from a year ago. They refuse to provide any useful information. Just then, Jin Jie notices a graffiti board. The symbols on it are the same as the logo of the church contracting company. Shortly after, a few employees escort an old man in. This old man is the one Jin Jie saw earlier. She was about to go after him, but the residents suddenly go crazy. On the other side, the old police officer from Pedrosa town has moved to another town in Spain. He hides in the shadows to secretly watch his wife. He immediately makes up his mind to leave. The old police officer mysteriously takes out a piece of paper. The things written on it don't match up. It mentions Trump and Baburo, and black holes, dark matter. The old police officer runs to a newsstand. He picks a few books related to the words on the note, and then drives to the outskirts. It turns out the beggar from Pedrosa town is also there. Despite the beggar's unremarkable appearance, he is the chosen one who understands the prophecies. The beggar warns the old police officer, never give in to the temptation to find your wife. Otherwise, they will capture you. They want to hunt down all the people in Pedrosa town, only by hiding in this electrical tower. Only in this way can we avoid the eyes and ears of those people. The beggar takes the books the old police officer bought and flips through them. He speaks in a confusing manner. The old police officer doesn't understand at all, but the beggar mentions a stone, saying that it can open a portal. It seems to confirm that the beggar is not lying. At this moment, at an auction in New York, USA, a mysterious rock from Peru appears, and Baburo, mentioned in the note, is also present. He is determined to acquire the stone. Unexpectedly, someone named Cheng Yaojin suddenly bids a high price. This person is actually a shape-shifting demon. The two of them relentlessly bid on the stone, starting at $20,000, until it reaches a staggering price of $20 million. Baburo, with his wealth and power, successfully obtains the rock. Meanwhile, the great demon has already disappeared. In the evening, the beggar is plagued by nightmares. The old police officer quickly approaches with his notebook. He constantly records the mumblings of the beggar. From the beggar's fragmented dream murmurs, it can be inferred that the soul of the female veterinarian is likely trapped in hell. That's why she has been in a coma state. At this moment, inside the hospital, the female veterinarian suddenly sits up with a rapid heartbeat. The mayor, seeing the situation, quickly calls for a doctor. When they return to the ward, the female veterinarian, however, returns to a vegetative state. Nevertheless, her consciousness is indeed trapped in hell. Inside, There are trembling humans everywhere. Occasionally, demons come and kill people. In a critical moment, the big bearded man arrives at the scene. He knocks out a few demons. He instructs the female veterinarian to protect something. These riddle people are really annoying. Can't you just directly say what to protect? What exactly did the big bearded man experience in hell? Let's go back 1 year. After waking up, the big bearded man realizes he is in hell, because there are strange and bizarre creatures everywhere. He walks into a room at the end. He sees a tentacle monster. The other party is the great demon from the previous season. He had the witch put the big bearded man into hell. He wanted to inform the other party that a person more formidable than the demon has appeared. That person is Baburo, the stone auctioneer. The great demon wants the big bearded man to help bring him down. On the other side, in Nice, France, the mayor's ex-wife, Ellie, who hasn't appeared for a long time, shows up. She wakes up in a super luxurious mansion. The bishop with different sized eyes is standing next to her, smiling attentively. He asks her if she likes the house. If she doesn't like it, he offers to give her another one. This bishop with different sized eyes keeps giving houses and cars. In reality, he wants to get the silver coin from Ellie's hand. You might find this strange. Since you want it so much, wouldn't it be over if you just grab it? The problem is, the coin has chosen Ellie. Unless she voluntarily gives it away, no one can take it. That day, the bishop with different sized eyes decides to reveal some big news. He specially sends Ellie a male model. He even says she can do whatever she wants with him. It seems that Ellie is not falling for it at all. After all, gold, silver, wealth, powerful beauties and so on. What can compare to the power of the silver coin? After much contemplation, the bishop with different sized eyes helps Ellie adopt a child. He knows that she is suffering from infertility. Ellie is indeed very happy when she sees the child. She even asks the bishop to fetch the silver coin from the drawer. But unexpectedly, Ellie changes her mind. She controls the silver coin to cut off the bishop's fingers. The scene shifts back to the old police officer's side. He continues to hide in the shadows, secretly observing his wife. He sees the female detective and Jinjie engaged in conversation with each other. The old police officer finds it strange. He hides behind the back seat of their car. He interrogates them about what they are up to. But after a conversation, they realize that they all have the same goal. They all want to uncover the truth behind the tragedy in the small town. The old police officer decides to take the two of them to meet the beggar. But to their surprise, there is no one in the electrical tower. At that moment, Jinjie points to the sky. The beggar is sitting on the towering top of the tower. He doesn't trust the female detective. So before the other party leaves, the beggar refuses to come down. Jinjie examines the relationship diagram on the electrical room wall. She discovers a 20th century physicist, unexpectedly connected with pigs. Quantum computers are connected to the silver coin and alien scientists. No one knows what the beggar is trying to express. The old police officer only knows that the evil bishop died. Baburo took over his position. Jinjie has heard the name of this super billionaire. She also mentions that Baburo established the Harmonious Human Brotherhood. In addition to that, she finds on the wall the logo of the construction company contracted by the church. The female detective goes to seek help from her colleagues. She obtains information about the company. Thus, she learns that they have established an organization called SNUK. It is not only involved in arms manufacturing, but also a leader in nanotechnology. The female detective opens the information and looks at it. Isn't the head of this organization the director of the mental hospital? In fact, the SNUK organization created the hospital to study the residents' brains and partially restore their memories as videos. Then, based on the video footage, they search for the whereabouts of the silver coin. Meanwhile, the great demon approaches Baburo for negotiations. He starts by saying, "I know what you want to do with the stone. My boss doesn't want that to happen." As long as Baburo gives up, the great demon is willing to help him obtain the entire world.
I don't want this world. I don't like it. I want a new one.
On the other side, the mayor visits the female veterinarian as usual, and follows the nurse's instructions to give her a massage. But halfway through the massage, he touches a burlap bag tied to her belly. There was actually a dead fetus wrapped inside. The mayor couldn't help but think of the tall and thin person who entered and exited the ward. He felt that the hospital was no longer safe, so he wanted to take the female veterinarian and leave. Meanwhile, in the underworld, the big bearded man finally stopped playing dumb riddles. He told the female veterinarian, "I will help you wake up. After you wake up, go find Father Lombardi. He will tell you everything." In the real world, the mayor is carrying the female veterinarian and trying to escape from the hospital. But as soon as they reach the entrance, they are caught. The mayor is locked up in Ward 6 by the doctor. Then, the tall and thin person appears. He is wearing a black robe of a priest. There is a symbol of a red snake coiled around a cross on his chest. The tall and thin person tells the mayor, "Someone will come to talk to you later." That person is the true form of the great demon. He reminds the mayor that to save the female veterinarian, going crazy alone won't be enough. You need to use your brain. The mayor doesn't know why the demon has appeared. He is very worried about the female veterinarian, so he breaks free and runs to change into a nurse's uniform. Then he goes to the ward to find the female veterinarian. To their surprise, there was no one inside the house. Finally, the mayor found the female veterinarian in the gynecology department. He also unexpectedly learned that she was pregnant. The doctor was furious when he saw the mayor. He angrily cursed, "You beast! You don't even spare vegetative patients." The mayor is really innocent. You know, he didn't touch the female veterinarian at all, okay? The mayor knocked out the doctor and nurse. He dragged the female veterinarian into the morgue and disguised her as a corpse. But who knew that the funeral home happened to come today? Confusedly, he watched as the female veterinarian was taken out of the hospital. Accidentally, he ended up cremating his future bride-to-be. What should he do now? The mayor quickly hijacked a delivery car. He chased after the vehicle transporting the corpse. He rode his motorcycle and stopped the hearse. He lifted the cover of the coffin and called out to the female veterinarian, and occasionally kissed her. This frightened the staff responsible for transportation. Meanwhile, the soul of the female veterinarian was desperately fleeing in hell. Suddenly, a demon rushed forward and grabbed the female veterinarian, and tore her into two pieces directly. Unexpectedly, the expected intense pain did not occur. Instead, the female veterinarian miraculously woke up. Finally, it's time to reveal what the big bearded man entrusted the female veterinarian to protect. After being brought to hell by the great demon a year ago, the soul of the evil bishop was brought in as well. He told them that Bablona had taken a book. It was the black leather book of the mad Arab. Just one glance and one would be blinded. In this book, there is a summoning spell that can summon a being superior to all others. The big bearded man wants the female veterinarian to guard something, which is the black leather book. On the other side, the mayor takes the female veterinarian and settles in a small apartment by the street. The pregnant female veterinarian is in a bad mood. She woke up from a year-long coma and miraculously became pregnant, and she has no idea who the father of the child is. Anyone in her situation would be upset. The mayor has a hunch that the tall and thin priest is involved in this, but he doesn't mind how the child came to be. He even suggests forming a family of 3. The female veterinarian won't listen at all right now. At this moment, she still doesn't know that she has become the chosen one to save all beings, because a little beggar glimpsed into the future of the female veterinarian. He said that once the giant stone opens the gate to heaven, the world will face the apocalypse. Only the female veterinarian can save everything. The current female veterinarian doesn't want to save anyone. She just wants to quickly get rid of the fetus in her abdomen. In just 2 months, her belly has become huge. The mayor is afraid to seek help from a regular hospital. He spends a lot of money to find an unlicensed doctor. The doctor is shocked to see such a large belly at only 2 months. He refuses to help no matter what. But seeing that the female veterinarian is about to give birth, she can only brace herself and go into labor. The doctor puts his hand in to check the position of the fetus, but he can't feel any limbs or a head. The mayor is shocked and frightened by this news. The doctor manages to pull out the fetus with great difficulty, but it turns out to be a large mass of flesh. Could it be that the female veterinarian gave birth to a Neza? In the next moment, the flesh mass grows spider legs. It scurries around the house dragging its umbilical cord. The spider-like flesh mass rushes under the cabinet. The 3 of them lean over to inspect. They notice that it twitches a few times and then dies. Meanwhile, in Rome, Italy, the Pope is having a meeting with the Cardinal. The Spanish town has encountered such a big mess. He must find the traitor within the Vatican. The bishop heard this. He feels restless for a moment, because the Pope's scepter holds divine power. Ordinary people can't escape judgment. Someone creates chaos using silver coins at a critical moment. The cross-eyed bishop takes the opportunity to escape. Shortly after, he arranges to meet Ellie in London. The cross-eyed bishop gathers with his accomplices. He hopes Ellie can go to Mexico, and from the hands of Cardinal Olden, to take back the 2 silver coins. Ellie doesn't want to obey his commands, but the cross-eyed bishop's accomplices possess 3 silver coins. She is no match for them, and the cross-eyed bishop has control over Ellie's foster son. With no other choice, she can only embark on a journey to Mexico. After a long and arduous journey, Ellie finally arrives at her destination. She approaches Cardinal Olden under the pretext of visiting the church. She quickly realizes that he is cruel and ruthless, almost like a king ruling over the mountains. Ellie endures discomfort and socializes with Olden, but the lack of restraint in the conversation at the table angers her. Olden doesn't feel afraid. He even takes out 2 silver coins and places them on the table. It means you are far behind compared to me. Olden wants to buy Ellie's silver coins. He takes her to the adjacent room for a visit. They see numerous banknotes piled up like garbage on the floor. Olden shows off his wealth, saying he has too much money. I'm too lazy to tidy up. Ellie doesn't want to listen to his bragging.
Padre, le mentiré una cosa. Tengo más de una moneda. Me prestaron 3.
After swiftly dealing with Olden, Ellie takes the silver coins. She is planning to leave Mexico, but on the way, she sees the Grim Reaper, and the power of the silver coins in her hand disappears. At a critical moment, Pablo appears and rescues her. He takes Ellie to Paris, but Ellie firmly believes that there is no such thing as a free lunch. Ellie immediately demonstrates the power of her 6 silver coins, but Pablo possesses more than 10 silver coins. He tells Ellie not to be too nervous. He also says that the issue with her son has been resolved. I came here this time to propose a collaboration. After some hesitation, Ellie agrees to join Pablo. However, she must take revenge first. Ellie goes back and directly kills the cross-eyed bishop. The scene shifts back to the female veterinarian. She is in pain and delirious during childbirth, and she doesn't realize that she has given birth to a monster. So after waking up, the female veterinarian wants to see the baby. The male protagonist can only say that the fetus has already died, but the female veterinarian doesn't believe. The mayor can only take her to see the barefoot doctor. The latter is in a meeting with colleagues. It seems they are studying the spider monster from yesterday. The doctor says the fetus is in the refrigerator. The female veterinarian opens the door and is startled. What the heck is this thing? The old doctor puts the dead spider on the table. Cut the superficial mucosa with a scalpel. Several people were busy dismantling and researching. Suddenly, that thing comes back to life. The big spider lunges at the female veterinarian like a facehugger. The mayor quickly rushes over to help. He throws the creature on the ground and stomps on it. Unexpectedly, there is a key inside the spider's abdomen. That night, the female veterinarian has a dream. She dreams of a big bearded man forcefully stuffing spiders into her mouth. It nearly scares her to death. Meanwhile, the mayor finds information about the key online. A translation organization called Toledo. They have translated similar seals before. The organization is well known. They also translate forbidden books of the church. The 2 of them go to the vicinity of the Translation Academy. The big bearded man is monitoring everything from hell. He doesn't understand why the black book is in Pablo's hands. Why would the great demon risk sending the female veterinarian to find it? So the big bearded man controls the homeless person by the road. Tell the female veterinarian that the monster fetus is the work of a great demon. Tell her to quickly drop the key and leave this place. The evil bishop interrupts the big bearded man's spell upon hearing this. The female veterinarian doesn't heed the advice either. She and the mayor wait until nightfall. They climb into the Translation Academy using a scaffolding. Strangely, such a large place has no security measures. The interior is filled with translated works. They also discover railway tracks on the ground. It appears to be used for transporting books. There are many keyholes in the middle of the bookshelves. They try each one, but none of them work. The female veterinarian decides to follow the direction of the railway tracks. Sure enough, a hidden door appears before them. They use the key to open it and enter. They discover a long staircase inside. At the end of the room, there is a box. They use the key to unlock the mechanism. They retrieve the black book hidden inside. The big bearded man warned them not to open it and look inside, so they refrain from acting recklessly. Suddenly, there is a sound from outside. The mayor quickly grabs the female veterinarian and they flee. Little did they know, a large killing machine appears. It is chasing them along the railway tracks. Seeing that it's about to cut the female veterinarian in half, the mayor immediately jumps onto the machine. He damages the gear mechanism with his bare hands. However, the next machine quickly appears. The two of them manage to escape the yard with great difficulty. To their surprise, they are surrounded by people outside. The mayor holds the book tightly and runs away. Seeing this, the crowd chases after them all at once. They hurriedly take refuge in a boutique. Before they can catch their breath, the store owner rushes over like crazy to snatch the book. Fortunately, the mayor and the female veterinarian cooperate smoothly. They successfully shake off the store owner and run out. The two of them run to the vicinity of the railway tracks in one breath. They see a homeless man lying on the tracks and refusing to get up. They kindly go over to remind him. However, the old man snatches the book and runs away. He runs forward for less than 10 meters, and gets hit by a speeding train. The female veterinarian successfully retrieves the black book. On the other side, the old police officer and the female detective are preparing to investigate the director at the mental hospital. However, getting in is not easy. The old police officer plans to pretend to be insane, because he is also a resident of Padesa town, so the staff doesn't suspect him. Meanwhile, Jinjie gains the trust of a little beggar, and tells him about her partner's death. The little beggar is righteous, and agrees to help her find the truth about Asen's death. So the two of them return to the small town together. The little beggar leads Jinjie into a secret passage. They successfully enter the sealed church, and explain that these people are using the guise of renovation to search for the lost silver coins here. As a social media person, Jinjie takes out her phone to capture footage. Little did she know, through the lens, she actually sees a body that is invisible to the naked eye, and the eerie old witch. Jinjie quickly tells the little beggar to run away, but halfway through their escape, the photos and videos on her phone disappear automatically. In the mental hospital on the other side, the director finally finds a clue from the residents' minds. A chubby man wearing a hat picked up a stray silver coin. They immediately send people to search the scene. Meanwhile, the female detective and Jinjie's group follow the sound and arrive nearby. They see the director discovering a coin-operated toy in a narrow alley. He has a clever idea and takes it with him. After removing the coin box, sure enough, they find a silver coin inside. The old police officer, hiding outside the window, sees everything. The next day, the silver coins are delivered to Baburo's hands. He opens the suitcase, revealing a full load of silver coins. A satisfied smile appears on his face. Baburo travels to Peru with 30 silver coins. After he gets off the helicopter, he follows the convoy to a mysterious circle. Baburo brushes aside the sand on the ground, revealing the stones buried beneath. He and his entourage smile, sensing victory is near. Meanwhile, the female veterinarian and the mayor escape from the siege with the black book. She still remembers what the bearded man said, to seek a priest named Lombardi, but the mayor doesn't trust the bearded man's words. Just as the two of them argue, a car crashes into them head-on. Just when the car accident happened, strange passers-by show up to grab books. The female veterinarian and the mayor kicked those people, even bite people directly, push the other person out of the car. The two of them flee while holding the book. The people around them swarm like possessed beings. They loudly warn the bystanders not to approach. Then they sneak into the tourist bus behind them. The two plan to wait for the car to stop, to steal a car and rush to the airport. The scene shifts to inside the mental hospital. The old police officer goes to find the mathematical genius in the hospital, asking the person to help calculate the electronic lock password. They obtain 840 possible combinations. If they try them one by one, people will definitely collapse. The old police officer hides in the dark. He secretly watches the staff entering passwords. Because the lighting is too dim, he can only see that it starts with 4. The old police officer tests passwords starting with 4. Surprisingly, he successfully unlocks and enters the office area. The director is busy in the innermost room. The content on the display screen on the wall is too complicated. There are also inexplicable brochures in the drawer. The old police officer can't understand them, so he takes photos of everything with his phone. Then he quietly leaves without anyone noticing. The old police officer sends the titles of the brochures to the female detective, but before he can say much more, he is taken away by the hospital staff. They say someone wants to talk to him. The female detective looks confused at the words he sent. Jiao Jing, what does it mean? At that moment, her colleague Jinjie calls. She said the little beggar sensed that the female veterinarian and the mayor are in danger, but they can't figure out the location of the two individuals. Unfortunately, the female detective can't reach them either. The detective asks Jinjie to find out what Gao Jing means. Jinjie quickly finds the information online. The Gao Jing Forum is a think tank for millionaires. They publicly discuss the future of the Earth and climate issues. But secretly, they are researching dark forces. The current Gao Jing is managed by the Baburo sect. These people spend most of their time on yachts and rarely go ashore. They also intentionally avoid areas under jurisdiction. A beggar nearby interrupts. He says he has found a way to protect the female veterinarian. They need a mysterious symbol for protection. Upon hearing this, the female detective tries to contact the mayor. Unexpectedly, she actually gets through, but the signal is quickly interrupted. At this moment, the tourists on the bus suddenly become aggressive. They snatch the black book and throw it to the ground. A passerby quickly picks up the book and flees. In fact, these people are all under the control of Baburo's dark magic. The passerby uses the book as a baton, passing it from one person to another. The female veterinarian and the mayor run off the bus and chase after them. At this moment, the phone signal is restored. The female detective tells the mayor, "You need to find a mysterious symbol, to avoid interference from Baburo." Their conversation is interrupted by the flight crew, because the plane is about to take off. At that moment, Jinjie sends the female detective a location. The detective quickly forwards it to the mayor. Then they obediently turn on airplane mode. Meanwhile, the female veterinarian and the mayor catch up to the passerby. They quickly defeat the overweight person with punches and kicks. The female veterinarian continues to flee with the book. On the other side, the old police officer is taken to an interview room. It turns out his wife has come to see him. However, there is a camera nearby. Although the old police officer wants to talk to his wife, but he is still pretending to be mentally ill. He absolutely can't show any flaws. The old police officer keeps looking at the surveillance camera and the dean is monitoring them from outside the screen. After the visit, the old police officer is filled with anger. His wife is right in front of him, but he can't speak. A few lunatics are still talking nonsense together. The old police officer can no longer tolerate it. He rushed over and wanted to beat the talkative patient. The nurse quickly came over to stop him. Little did they know that the old police officer was incredibly strong. It took 2 adult nurses to barely restrain him. They injected the old police officer with a sedative. He didn't regain consciousness until the evening. The old police officer sat in a wheelchair, avoiding the attention of others. He pushed open the window and stepped on the electrical wire beneath his feet. He climbed all the way to the window of the work area. The old police officer saw the staff torturing a patient. It seemed like they were conducting some kind of human experiment. The scene shifts back to the female veterinarian. She and the mayor arrived at the coordinates sent by the female detective. They discovered that it was the Temple of Debo. The mysterious symbol the beggar mentioned is hidden here. They were about to enter the scenic area. However, they were stopped by a man walking his dog. As expected, this person was also under Baburo's control. The dog in his hand was restless and barking incessantly. The female veterinarian immediately climbed over the fence and entered the scenic area. The mayor tried to follow but was bitten by a vicious dog. He desperately shook off the dog and climbed over the fence. The two of them successfully found the star-shaped symbol on the wall. However, the entrance was blocked by the gatekeeper and the vicious dog. They had no way to leave. At this moment, the internet celebrity Jinjie played a role. She started a live broadcast and revealed the truth she had recently discovered. She also revealed the meaning of the star-shaped symbol. She called on everyone to go and rescue the female veterinarian. Late at night, a large group of people wearing sunglasses blocked the entrance of the scenic area, making it impassable. They faced the gatekeeper's vicious dog and unbuttoned their coats, revealing the star-shaped symbol on their t-shirts. They successfully repelled Baburo's puppets. Everyone escorted the female veterinarian and the mayor to leave. The two of them immediately headed to Rome, Italy. However, before they could find Father Lombardi was knocked out and replaced by one of Baburo's puppets. The two main characters didn't notice anything unusual for a while. Baburo controlled the fake priest. Want to trick the black book out of the female veterinarian's hands. The mayor on the side observed the situation and finally realized that something was amiss. So instead of immediately handing over the black book, he asked the priest to take him for a walk. However, Baburo had other important matters to attend to, so he had to hand the puppet figurine to his subordinate, Lao Hei, and asked him to handle it for a while. But Lao Hei was very inexperienced in this line of work and quickly exposed his identity. Since things had reached this point, Lao He no longer pretended and tried to control the puppet to kill the female veterinarian. However, he didn't control the force properly and ended up breaking the puppet's arm directly. Taking advantage of the situation, the female veterinarian and the mayor threw him downstairs, causing the fake priest to shatter into pieces and revert to its puppet form. On the other side, the female detective went to Portsmouth, England, and successfally infiltrated the banquet held by Gauhung, a wealthy individual. She put on a coat with an organized scarf, swaggering into the hall. Soon, Baburo appeared as the keynote speaker with Ellie, and wealthy individuals from all over stood up and applauded to welcome them. However, Ellie recognized the female detective at a glance. While Baburo was promoting the idea of restarting the world, he said that the world was like a stuck phone, and if one wanted to restore everything to normal, the best method was to shut down and restart from scratch, or rather, from 0,000,001. And the 1 in a million who would be preserved in the new world is everyone present here. The reason is simple because Gauhung's members are either rich or noble, standing at the top of the pyramid. The restart time will be on March 20th when Saturn and Jupiter align.
Now you can be among the chosen, or you can watch from the outside. The choice, as always, is yours.
Ellie's attention was completely captured by the female detective, who noticed her Ellie's gaze and hurriedly left the hall. The female detective escaped through a window. She casually grabbed a blue gift bag, and caught up with the leadership of Gauhung. The female detective pretended to be an enthusiastic fan and approached them, deliberately knocking off the executive's gift bag, and seizing the opportunity to switch 2 bags. However, Ellie quickly alerted the police and had the female detective arrested. The latter, of course, wouldn't sit idly by. She escaped when the police were not paying attention, jumping out of the car, while tightly holding the laptop in the gift bag. The scene shifts back to Rome. The female veterinarian and the mayor escape from the church, and casually enter a nearby coffee shop. Unexpectedly, they coincidentally encounter the awake Lombardi. The 3 of them return to the church with the black book. Father Lombardi unlocks the iron chain on the book, then turn around and look away. Because no one can directly look at the contents of the black book, he examines the reverse text through a mirror. Father Lombardi states that the content inside is obscure and difficult to understand. Even until now, no one has deciphered the last page. He believes that not even Baburo could accomplish it. Legend has it that the incantation on the last page possesses a power comparable to summoning God, and is likely to cause everything to end, resetting the entire world to 0. The mayor asks the priest if there is really no way to decipher it. The priest indicates that there is a Danish mathematician, who can understand the Icarian dialect in the book, but he has been missing for several years, and even if the mathematician were to help, they would have to gather 30 silver coins first. At this moment, the 3 of them seem unaware that Baburo has already collected all 30 silver coins. The priest states that although there is a reset incantation in the book, it also contains a way to prevent it from happening. Lombardi plans to go to Peru, the location of the ritual, in the depths of hell. At the same time, the Great Demon believes that Big Beard is no longer useful, and intends to throw him into the flames of hell. However, just as Big Beard approaches the flames, Lombardi is split in half by a mysterious force. Now, the priest, who can replace Big Beard, is dead. The Great Demon, in order to continue dealing with Baburo, has no choice but to spare Big Beard's life, and also has to let him return to the mortal realm to help the female veterinarian. The old witch, after receiving the Great Demon's command, behead a ram and bleed it, and pours it into a coffin filled with maggots. She digs open the sand and pulls out the resurrected Big Beard. Unexpectedly, the evil bishop also appeared. The Great Demon ordered him to closely monitor Big Beard. Due to the severe decay of their bodies, they went to a nearby funeral parlor for repairs. After preparing to force myself to look like an individual, and then go find the female veterinarian and the mayor. On the other side, the female detective took a computer to find Jin Jie. The owner of the computer is Dr. Regan from the University of Cambridge. This person is involved in cutting-edge physics projects in Europe, and has worked for nearly 30 years. So, in order to see the content on the computer, the startup password needs to be deciphered first. Meanwhile, inside a mental hospital in Spain, started a patient uprising. The old police officer led the villagers to subdue the caregivers, and injected them with tranquilizers. Everyone wanted to escape through the staff corridor, but the caregiver's access card malfunctioned. At the critical moment, the old bailiff called twice over. This girl, due to human experiments, gained the ability to retrieve objects from a distance. The old police officer asked her to concentrate and release the lock spring. This method worked indeed. Twice blew open the main door. Everyone rushed towards the exit. Even if caregivers came out to stop them along the way, they were all knocked down by the villagers. The little beggar and others received the message and came to provide support. Everyone successfully escaped from the mental hospital. Meanwhile, the female detective received a call from the mayor. The mayor was incoherent, and explained that Lombardy was split in half. They were unable to decipher the black book. Upon hearing this, the little beggar took the phone, and warned the mayor to be cautious of a person wearing blue clothes. Just as he finished speaking, the hotel doorbell rang. The mayor and the female veterinarian went to open the door. Indeed, there was a woman wearing blue clothes outside. She even mentioned conducting an evacuation drill. The two of them lied, saying they would come down later, and secretly escaped with the black book. However, an unexpected event occurred soon. Just as they passed by the pool near the exit, Eli was performing a technique in a bathtub thousands of miles away. She used water as a medium for teleportation. She suddenly dragged the female veterinarian into the pool. The mayor immediately jumped in to rescue her. The female veterinarian managed to escape from the pool. However, the mayor was taken back by Eli into the bathtub on the yacht. Upon learning this, Pablo was very angry. Just forget it if you use silver coins without permission. Why didn't you retrieve the black book instead? Instead, she continued to have contact with her ex-husband. Eli explained that the female veterinarian wouldn't neglect the mayor. We can wait for her to come to us. The mayor was imprisoned on the yacht by his ex-wife Eli. He had a series of nightmares. First, he dreamed of returning to the town. Then he dreamed of Pablo poisoning him. The mayor woke up from the dream, and saw Eli looking at him with an infatuated expression. But the mayor wasn't swayed by sweet words. He knew that Eli just didn't want her husband to be taken away. The person she loves the most is always herself.
Tarde o temprano voy a salir de aquí, ¿me entiendes?
Saldrás de aquí, sí. Pero conmigo.
Meanwhile, Pablo's people were excavating underground in Peru, preparing for the final ritual. After an unlucky driver overturned and fell into a pit, he was immediately executed by the staff. On the other side, the old police officer led the rescued residents, and they continued along the main road. He just wanted to go back and see his wife, and explain that he hadn't gone crazy. However, the female detective and the female internet celebrity, among others, didn't want the old police officer to go home, because the police and the Ministry of Internal Affairs would capture him, and there was a major crisis at hand. Since they knew the truth, they should prevent Pablo from destroying the world. The little beggar with psychic ability had a premonition that a crisis was about to come. The female internet celebrity asked the little beggar if there was a way to stop it. The latter stated that Pablo's ritual had 2 cores, and he could see the location of core 2. It was a church covered in cables. If they destroyed it, they could stop Pablo. While everyone was on the way, the mathematical genius from the mental hospital successfully deciphered Dr. Regan's computer password, and by checking the flight records above, it is confirmed that core 2 is in Barcelona. On the other side, the bearded man who just returned from hell, and the evil bishop, have disguised themselves and boarded the plane, as their bodies have already decayed, and the stench quickly spreads in the closed cabin. The passengers on the same flight complain. The bearded man has to go to the restroom for emergency treatment. He wraps the decaying wound with plastic wrap, and sprays perfume to cover the smell. They finally arrive in Italy after great difficulty. The bearded man contacts the female veterinarian as soon as he lands. She is startled to receive a call from a dead person, but it is indeed the voice of the bearded man on the other end of the line. They agree to meet at the airport information desk in 5 minutes. After hanging up the phone, he exchanges a glance with the evil bishop. They both take action against the airport security checking them. They quickly take out the guards, and start a rampage inside the airport. The bearded man was already skilled in combat, and now that people are already dead, he has no restraint. The female veterinarian sees the bearded man again, and is filled with mixed emotions. The evil bishop interrupts their conversation, and reminds them that Pablo's people have arrived at the airport. The bearded man hands the black book to the evil bishop. He instructs the female veterinarian to go to the back door first, and call a taxi in 5 minutes. The evil bishop enters the restroom with the black book, as no one can directly look at its contents, so the bishop has to use the mirror to read it. He quickly flips to the 5th chapter, God's Gaze. This is what Pablo wants to open. At this moment, a bald passerby walked out of the toilet cubicle. The bishop grabs his head and smashes it against the glass, and threatens him to flip through the black book. The bald man is clueless about the situation and can only obediently comply. As the page numbers progress closer to the end, his eyes are in excruciating pain. The evil bishop quickly scans through the contents of the black book, and notes down a series of numbers. Meanwhile, the bald man can no longer bear it and spontaneously combusts on the spot. On the other hand, the bearded man, relying on his immortality, easily deals with the henchman sent by Pablo. The female veterinarian quickly hurries to the underground parking lot. She randomly steals a car from a passerby. Then she drives to the back door to pick up the bearded man and the bishop. The latter quickly records that series of numbers on his phone. Afraid that he might forget it later, the bishop tells the bearded man according to what the book says. To stop Pablo, they need to borrow the Pope's Eye of Blood. It seems that the three of them have to make a trip to the Vatican. They quickly arrive at their destination. The bearded man meets with the local bishop. The latter takes him to meet the Pope. The Pope is cautious and extremely concerned about his own life. He has built a fortress that can withstand spells. When the bearded man arrives, the Pope is in bed reading a newspaper. He gets straight to the point and requests to borrow the Eye of Blood. What exactly is this Eye of Blood? In the past, Longinus pierced Christ's side with a sword, and the Eye of Blood contains the blood from God's rib. The Pope is unwilling to lend it easily. He is surrounded by watchful followers. If it weren't for the protection of the Eye of Blood, the Pope would probably not survive for long. The evil bishop, seeing his lack of cooperation, he simply strangled the Pope from a distance. He has long been dissatisfied with this fat-headed guy. Now the church is corrupt and rotten. It's all because of the Pope's incompetence. The bearded man, seeing the situation, picked up the Eye of Blood. He threatened the evil bishop to let go. Otherwise, he would shatter the Eye of Blood. The evil bishop had no choice but to release the Pope. The two of them, along with the female veterinarian, gathered together with the Eye of Blood. They immediately set off for Peru. 3 people and the High Purification Organization arrived successively. The evil bishop used magic to unlock parked vehicles on the roadside. They quietly followed the High Net's car. Then, while they stopped to rest, they knocked out a few members and changed clothes. They then casually blended into the convoy. At the same time, the veteran police and others arrived in Barcelona. However, this place has 15 sects. There are over 500 churches. Where can they find Corneau? 2. Just then, the female detective received a call from her boss. She casually responded to a few sentences. Unbeknownst to her, her boss traced her location through the call, confirming the female detective's location. During the gap when she was making the call, a young beggar suddenly climbed up a nearby high-rise building. Looking around, he successfully found the cable church. Everyone looked in the direction indicated by the young beggar. Sure enough, they saw a building with a glowing tower. The female internet celebrity compared it to a certain song's map. She discovered that it wasn't a church, but rather a supercomputing center. They disguised themselves as journalists and infiltrated the interviewing team. They successfully entered the building's interior. The female detective saw a man with long flowing hair. She recognized him from attending Pablo's lecture. There is indeed something fishy about this place. They quietly followed the suspicious man with long hair. The man took the elevator to the back door, and he entered another building. There were 2 security guards guarding the entrance. It seems that they can't forcefully break through this route. The veteran police officer went around to the side of the building and opened a manhole cover. They planned to enter the building through the sewer. Unexpectedly, they were blocked by a giant exhaust fan. If they forcibly stopped the machine, it could likely trigger a security alarm. Fortunately, they had the help of this person. They could use their mind to slow down the speed of the fan blades. They took the opportunity to crawl through during the gap. However, when it was the veteran police officer's turn, this person suddenly fainted from exhaustion. The veteran police officer was directly hit by the fan blades, causing severe injuries. The rest of them didn't have time to mourn, because the mathematician was using a quantum computer to decipher the last page of the Black Book. Unexpectedly, when the decryption reached a critical stage, the female detective's superior followed the location and found her. They directly stormed in with an armed force. As soon as they entered the room, they started shooting and killing indiscriminately. On the other side, in Nazca, Peru, the bearded man and others blended in with the High Net's convoy. They arrived at Pablo's base. the evil bishop employed some tricks. He took the female veterinarian and boarded a transport vehicle. The bearded man separated from them and acted alone. He wanted to steal a motorcycle by the roadside. However, the owner of the motorcycle rushed over. He grabbed the bearded man and beat him up. It turned out that a woman had such strength. The bearded man didn't hold back either. He snatched the motorcycle keys from her. The owner's accomplices immediately opened fire, but the bearded man is already dead. He doesn't fear attacks at all. He took back the keys and headed towards the ritual site. The ground was covered in crisscrossing long cables. It looked like a massive circuit. All the bearded man has to do is use the Eye of Blood to block the electric current within it. Meanwhile, the bishop and the female veterinarian entered the camp. The staff instructed them to put on protective suits. The two of them didn't understand what they were supposed to do. They could only move along in a daze. The people around them were all wearing red wristbands. The bishop also got himself a red wristband. The mayor also had a red wristband on his hand. It seems that those who wear the red bands are the elite humans chosen by High Net. They have the chance to survive in this reset. The passers-by couldn't help but envy the mayor's wristband. They couldn't help but look at him with envy. Ellie doesn't know what she did to the mayor. As the latter actually forgot about their disagreement, he obediently followed Ellie's instructions. Then, people wearing red wristbands started gathering underground. Surprisingly, there were numerous flying saucers parked inside. Pablo, since the 1970s, he had discovered this mysterious underground space. Up until today, he had only deciphered one of those flying saucers. This particular flying saucer had a history of 3,000 years. Its purpose was not as simple as traveling to space. The flying saucers could transport people to another dimension. Pablo announced that only 30 chosen ones could abandon the world that was about to be destroyed. Soaring beyond infinity, the wealthy tycoons were displeased upon hearing this. There are at least 50 people here. How should we arrange the rest? Pablo said it's very simple. Just kill them all. Problem solved. After dealing with the population issue, he started distributing silver coins. These 30 silver coins serve as passes. The chosen ones will enter the flying saucer one by one. The giant stone that Pablo took a picture of. It was also placed in the correct position. Its function is equivalent to an antenna. Now, they just need to crack the code on the Barcelona side. Then they can take off successfully and activate the Eye of God. During the wait, the bishop led the female veterinarian. They sneaked into the flying saucer secretly. Although Pablo discovered them through surveillance cameras, he didn't intervene to stop them, because he had more important things to do. However, Ellie didn't think the same way. She held a grudge against the female veterinarian for stealing the mayor's heart. She was prepared to secretly deal with her. At the same time, news came from Barcelona. The base was being destroyed by a female internet celebrity and the police. The calculations were ultimately forced to terminate. Pablo via live view. He witnessed the tragic situation over there. Just as he became restless, Pablo noticed. The camera captured the computer screen. The final sequence of numbers has been deciphered. The technicians immediately followed the code. They activated the corresponding mechanisms inside the spaceship. Golden patterns began to move across the flying saucer. They successfully ascended into the sky. It attracted countless people who cheered and watched. On the other side, the bearded man found the intersection of the lines. He took out the Eye of Blood disguised as a golf club. He quickly assembled it. Then, according to the numbers recorded by the bishop, he turned the mechanism on the scepter. Unexpectedly, a helicopter appeared in the sky. It started firing at him. A large number of armed forces also gathered around. At this point, the bearded man didn't hold back. He swung the Eye of Blood in his hand. Red mist mixed with lightning. It directly tore the helicopter apart. As for the flying saucer, a big battle was taking place. Ellie and the mayor blocked the female veterinarian. She possessed the power of the silver coins. The evil bishop was no match for her, although the female veterinarian resisted fiercely. But the mayor has already been brainwashed. He is under Ellie's control. He is fighting fiercely against the female veterinarian. At a critical moment, the bishop pours oil into a pot. He tells Ellie that the bearded man will sabotage the plan. You can keep the female veterinarian as a hostage. Perhaps she can play an unexpected role at a crucial moment. At this moment, the flying saucer has arrived above the giant stone. The passengers close their eyes and raise their silver coins. A great change occurs in the world. The Eye of God emerges from the clouds. As the flying saucer approaches the pupil, the bearded man plants the scepter into the ground. Red energy envelops the giant stone. It successfully slows down the flying saucer. However, the bearded man quickly becomes exhausted. The power of the Eye of God is too overwhelming. He is unable to stop it. The flying saucer enters the enormous eyeball. The doomsday arrives as scheduled. At this final moment, the great demon finally appears. He tells the bearded man that he must leave with them. Upon hearing this, the bearded man breaks the scepter. The bearded man is sucked into the rift. He wakes up in a meadow. He discovers that he is actually in the town of Pedrosa. Female veterinarian, old bailiff and others from another dimension are living peacefully here. However, with the arrival of Pablo's flying saucer, it will surely disrupt this peace. The story of this season concludes here. It seems that there will likely be a third season. It must be said that Spain is good at creating mysterious religious settings. However, the sudden appearance of the alien spaceship at the end truly leaves one perplexed. Could it be that the ultimate destination of fantasy is truly science? This season's plot is far less compelling than the previous one. At least the first season had a reinterpretation of religious stories. However, this season relied on the cliché of parallel universes. Only the resurrection of Hell brought some excitement. Judging solely by the ending, the efforts of the main characters were in vain. They worked tirelessly for a full 8 episodes. The Eye of God was still opened. It's unknown how the screenwriters will continue the story.